Good evening, folks. I'll open this Sebastian City Council Community Redevelopment Agency budget hearing, regular meeting, and second budget hearing. If you would all rise for a moment of silence and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Vice Mayor Kinchin. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Hill.
Here.
Vice Mayor Kitchen.
Here.
Councilmember Dodd.
Here.
Councilmember Iovino.
Here.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Here.
Thank you.
Council, do you have any agenda modifications this evening?
No.
I see none. We'll move to item 6. There are no proclamations, awards, or brief announcements. Anyone have any brief announcements of their own? All right, thank you. At this time, I'll recess the City Council meeting and reconvene as the Community Redevelopment Agency. I'll ask for a motion on item 7A, minutes from the July 24th, 2019 CRA.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. At this time, we'll conduct a public hearing for the CRA budget for fiscal year 1920. I will open that hearing. Mr. Carlisle. I'm sorry, Mr. Stokes.
Oh, sorry. A resolution of the City of Sebastian Community Redevelopment Agency, CRA, adopting a budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2019 and ending September 30th, 2020, making findings, authorizing amendments and transfers, providing for conflicts, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Carlisle.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, as you know, as part of the budget process, the CRA has its own funding and tax base. This, under the Florida Statute 189.418, subsection 3, we need to adopt this budget by resolution, which we're asking you to do tonight. The CRA proposed budget is $513,900, and the total increment is projected to be $397,816. It is incorporated in the annual budget, and we would ask Council to consider adopting the budget for 2019-2020 for the Community Redevelopment Agency, as noted in their resolution.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone from the public wish to speak on resolution number 20-01? Yes, sir. Sir, is that budget from the back table?
Yeah, that's what I'm reading from.
That table, that's supposed to remain back there. It says it right on the copy to leave it back there, sir.
I'm using it for this presentation.
I'll let you use it this one time.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Allow the taxpayers of this community to use their property in the back. Thank you, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
By the way, my name's Damon Gilliam, 1623 US 1. It's nice to know that we can utilize the materials that we pay for. So, in reference to your budget for the CRA, I noticed that under the exhibit for resolution, your expenditures from fiscal year 1819 to 1920, you're dropping sewer connection program from $125,000 down to $99,000 at a time when it's critical to this community to be transferring over from septic to sewer. There should be no reason why you're doing a rollback, but yet we can't find funding, additional funding, whether it's from the Indian River Council Lagoon organization, grants, etc. So that's a negative, and I think that this board should look for additional funding so that we can find more money to preserve the environment of this community. Also, I see under your consultants, you went from $19,960 to $70,000 for consultants. We need less consultants and more things done in the community. So if you can find a way to reduce your consultants and use the consultants from the Indian River County and the state, where we don't have to contract out, there's an additional $50,000 there that we can reduce in consultants. Also under your revenue, I see that obviously you dropped from your fiscal year of 18-19, from 617,000 to this year, 19-20 for next year, 617,000 to 513,000. Why, when property values are raising, and yet you can do rollback, we cannot find additional funding in the revenue source so that we can have the sewer to septic, the septic to sewer connection. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll put your book in the back, okay? Thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to speak on this issue? All right, seeing none. Mr. Carlisle.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, to clarify, we did get an additional $100,000 from the Indian River Lagoon Council. Ms.
Right.
Frazier was able to get those dollars. We will be going to Tallahassee again. Hopefully, we'll get the money put into our account for some sewer projects, and some of that 70,000 was carryover from a project, the sign projects that were part of the approved budget to upgrade all of the signage in the CRA, as well as other signage in the parks.
All right, thank you. I'm going to close the public hearing. Council, what's your pleasure on item 7B?
Let me a couple of comments. The second item under the is the $100,000 that the city manager was referencing to. So item number C, once we approve that, then that $100,000 should go into the sewer, the septic to sewer conversion program. So that number actually goes up to $199,000. If I'm correct on that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The other thing is consultants. We have to pay anybody whose consultants we use. If we use the county consultants, we pay for them. If we use the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council, we pay for them. So we're paying for consultants no matter who we use. So we're not going to cut money out of the budget by doing that. The reason for the consultants is for us to redo the planning process that we have to for the CRA. And we either hire staff to do it or we hire consultants to do it. And so I think $70,000 is relatively cheap, because if we start hiring staff, we got an ongoing $70,000 plus expense to go with that. So I think that's important to note that those were two good points that were brought up by the speaker, but they are being addressed in the process as we go through this. So I support this. I move approval of the item number A or B.
Second. Motion is second. Council, you have any further discussion? All right, thank you. Like you said, it's a great budget. If you just read the agenda, you can see that we have $200,000 for our septic sewer in there. So this is a great budget for the CRA. Thank you very much to staff. Roll call, please.
Vice Chair Kitchen?
Yes.
Mr. Dodd?
Yes.
Mr. Iovino?
Yes.
Mr. McPartlin?
Yes.
Chairman Hill?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Item 7C, approve cost share grant agreement with Indian River Lagoon Council in the amount of $100,000 for septic to sewer grant program. Mr. Carlisle.
Mr. Mayor, yes, and I have to give Ms. Frazier the credit. She worked diligently on getting this grant together and submitting it to the Indian River Lagoon Council, and they agreed and funded this to a tune of $100,000. Originally, it was $46,000. They found some additional monies and funded it for the full requested amount of $100,000. So we'd ask, and again, this is a 50-50 match, so we can match up with the $100,000 they have, and that was in our documents. But we would ask that the council would accept this grant, because I think it's beneficial for us to get many of those septic to sewers off that's not on there now and into the program.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Council, what's your pleasure on item 7C?
Mr. Mayor, move approval of item 7C.
Second?
Motion is second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on item 7C? All right, seeing none. Anything else from council on this? Yeah, great job. Obviously we've started, the city of Sebastian was, I think, at the forefront years ago in starting the septic sewer program in our area. It's been a great positive for this community, and the fact that this council chooses to continue to fund this program to make sure that we're doing everything we can to protect the Indian River Lagoon, I think it's critical to our future and the future of the lagoon. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dodd?
Yes.
Mr. Iovino?
Yes.
Mr. McPartlin?
Yes.
Chairman Hill?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Kitchen?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Leads us to item D, septic sewer program. Now we have a grant approval, post facto, I suppose, grant approval. Mr. Carlisle.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, this is kind of an odd one. The gentleman that applied, he started the work as he was doing the application. So our grant says you cannot start the work until the grant is approved. And so he started the grant, he started the application, there was some mix-up with some mailings, but in any case, they started the process of installing the septic to sewer in conjunction with the time frame of the application. It's a little bit of a cart before the horse, but it's not a major cart before the horse. I think it's beneficial. I think it's good to get that wash unit off of the septic system and the water systems and into the sewer system. I think staff has agreed that this is a case where we want to recommend approval of this grant.
All right, thank you, and it's a grant for $3,345.
That's correct.
All right, thank you. Council, what's your pleasure on item D?
I'll move approval. Any septic to sewer conversion is good in my books, whether he started the work or not. So I move approval.
Second.
Motion second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on item 7D? Yes, ma'am, please.
And I'm here to represent Tom Very. He's at 1620 North Central Avenue in Sebastian. And he started the process to convert from the septic to the sewer in 2017, I guess, when you all started. He's been very proactive with this. He put the cart before the horse, and he went ahead and he had the sewer put in. He did the assessment and everything, and he did not fill out the application. So he was not told. He spoke with 3 or 4 of the representatives in the county and here in Sebastian, and he resides in California, and so that's why he's not here today. But they have denied him the grant money because he already had the system put in. So he is asking that you all make an exception and try to work with him on this. It was very important for him to do this, and like you said, it's very important for the city of Sebastian to convert, and that's my situation.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this item? All right, seeing none. I'm fully in favor of this. I mean, this is a long-standing business in the community. He's done a great job of taking good care of this property and making sure that he conforms to all of our rules and regulations, and has been consistent for many years in this community, so I strongly support this. Anything else from council? Roll call, please.
Mr. Iovino?
Yes.
Mr. McPartlin?
Yes.
Chairman Hill?
Yes.
Vice Chair Kitchen?
Yes.
Mr. Dodd?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. At this time, I will adjourn the Community Redevelopment Agency and reconvene as the Sebastian City Council. Item 9, we have a public hearing, final hearing on the millage for calendar year 2019 and fiscal year 1920 budget. Mr. Stokes.
A resolution of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, adopting a millage rate of 2.9399 mills for the calendar year 2019 and allocating same to the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2019 and ending September 30th, 2020, providing for conflicts, providing for Scrivener's errors, providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Carlisle?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, as mentioned by Mr. Attorney on Mr. Stokes on the millage rate in the resolution, we have set the rollback and balanced the budget at rollback rate of 2.9399, and Mr. Kilgore has a brief presentation that he will give to you and for the public.
Mr. Kilgore.
Good evening. This is our third presentation to the City Council, so I will keep it brief. We've gone through a process of going through, with the Budget Committee, Planning and Zoning Board, and a lot of staff time to put together what we think is a good budget. Our millage at the 2.9399 rollback rate is substantially lower than the 3.1514 that we had adopted this past year. And as you can see from the chart, which I've shown before, that the homesteaded properties in those various categories or levels of assessment would actually benefit by the rollback rate. And the non-homesteaded properties would have just a minor increase. Summarize the budget. This lists all the funds and the total appropriations for $33,246,760. All the funds are balanced. Quickly, general fund, we've got a balanced budget with an increase of 4.86% over last year's expenditures. The golf course is paying all the scheduled amortization of the loans. The airport is also repaying its loans. Building fund is projected a level growth rate. Local option gas tax, we're spending $211,000 for repaving. The parking in lieu of fund, I've shown no new agreements, but I understand there is one coming. They'll be presented later. Discretionary sales tax, we do most of our MIS upgrades. The police vehicles, $333,000 for road reconstruction. The Public Works compound is being funded by DST as well as matching funds on the Hangar D. Riverfront CRA, as we've discussed at the previous hearing, that we have sign and sewer grants, signage and landscaping, and the tree program funded for next year. Some of that is from carry forward. Rec impact fees, we're doing park signs, finishing the pickleball, quite a bit of playground work over the future years, and bleachers and dugouts and fencing at the Barber Street complex. Stormwater utility, we're addressing the storm crop area with some help from grants, and the stormwater work that's associated with street paving is also funded by the stormwater utility fees. The law enforcement forfeiture fund is one that we do not budget. It comes up during the year as the police department has unbudgeted items that they need to fund, and those individually come back to the city council at the time that they are needed. Cemetery trust, we've got $80,000 being transferred over to the general fund to help offset the cost of maintaining the cemetery that are funded out of general fund. The summary of the capital improvement program, it's $23 million over, with most of the money's being applied to stormwater improvements, the Public Works compound, and the road paving and reconstruction. And we had the funding sources from the DST, primarily grant money and local gas taxes, as well as the stormwater fees. So we've done all the required state, we followed all the state required steps in the budget process. One thing we had to do is this past Saturday on the 21st, we did the advertisement in the newspaper that this hearing would be held and that we were going to adopt the budget at this time. And we recommend approval of the three resolutions on the rollback rate, the operating budget, and capital improvement program. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to respond.
All right, great job. I'll say that I believe that everyone in the city did an outstanding job with this budget, one that provides a balanced budget at rollback, that provides for increased level of service, that utilizes a tremendous amount of grant funding to help us provide that higher level of service. We're repaving extra roads and improving our parks and rec and our CRA district, so I'd say you've done a heck of a job. So I'm very proud to be up here and proud of the work that you guys have done, so excellent work. Anyone else, does anyone from the public wish to speak on either 9A, A, B, or C? Yes, sir.
You borrowed the book.
Jess, I told you I'd let you do it that one time, but I'm going to let you do it again because I know you have difficulties with rules, and so I'm going to let you go, all right? So you may proceed, sir.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate you allowing us to utilize the documents that are provided by the taxpayers of this community that are in this room, and we can put to good use. Thank you. That's very generous of you. Thank you. My name is Damien Gilliam, 1623 US 1, Sebastian. Thank you for shooting for rollback. However, I noticed that the community must know about CAFR. certified financial analysis that gets done at the end of every budget year, and how you guys every quarter manipulate that budget and change it. In reality, it's just a budget, but it's not reality. So I hope that the community can look into the documents and look at the CAFA report that is done, and it's an analysis of what really transpired in the community and how the money was spent, so that they get a better understanding how the tax dollars are being spent. So let me give you an example. So on page 15, under your appropriation comparison for department divisions to general fund exhibit S2, and it talks about salaries, benefits reflect an increase of 8.9%, primarily because of pay and benefit increases for employees. Salaries and benefits reflect an increase of 8.9%. Just let the community know that we do have a council that represents our employees very well. They all are government employees. And I think that's important that this community knows that that's, I feel, is a conflict of interest, and that when you do roll back, those funds that you're trying to put to good use to save our canals from spraying, to complete the roads, the stormwater issues that we have in this community. And I can give you an example, Mr. Mayor, and I know that utilities is purposely avoiding my property. There's a big pothole right there in front of my business, in front of the dry cleaners business. That's a liability to this community, and it's just not getting done. And that's in the CRA district, and that represents this community. So it's good that you set aside money for your employees. I think it's long overdue, because they've been cheated out over the years when things had to be lean and we had to cut the budget. But 8.9% is very generous. And I don't have a problem with cost of living increases, but when you conceal it under personal benefits and perks, I have an issue with that. That's not disclosed. So let me move on, and I want to let you know that the operating budget for this community has gone up from $9 million, $12 million, and that the total budget back in 2015 went to $24 million, is now up to $33 million. But yet I think we're getting less for our tax dollars because things are just not getting done. And I'm going to give you an example. The stormwater park. When was the last time those pumps were run and checked to make sure that we do not have a stormwater issue in this community? Because we obviously have a problem with the spraying of the canals. We're trying to keep those canals clear with the poisons that you've been spraying, but yet we have not heard from the city manager, and he said he's going to bring something forward. I did meet with him. He says he's got a big stack of things here, and we want to know, how are you going to stop the poison spraying in our canals to save our kids when they fish in those canals? As well as getting the potholes that are purposely looked over in front of my business. And by the way, under your matters last meeting, you directed staff to go after me, code enforcement, because I'm the only one that has a keg under my sign. I thought that was a cheap shot, but thank you for not interrupting me. I appreciate that. I just want the community to let them know that when you come up here and speak, you can be guaranteed that none of the council members are going to call you out when you direct your staff to go after citizens that come up and speak.
All right, thank you,
and
sir.
challenge us in code enforcement.
Sir?
So
Stay
thank
on.
you very much. I appreciate you not interrupting me.
I know it's tough for you.
I will put
Do
your book in the back.
Sir, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
I appreciate you putting the book back.
Thank you very much,
And do
Mr.
your
Mayor.
best next time to stay on the subject that you're supposed to be speaking on. Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak on the budget this evening? All right, seeing none. Mr. Carlisle.
So the 8.5% also includes insurance increases that we don't have a lot of control over, that we try to negotiate down. And I know we don't get into debate, but those pumps are tested and run every week out there at the Stormwater Park. Philip Patino goes out there and runs them. So those are done. But I think that the city has done a good job keeping the budget rollback in the direction of council. Staff work very hard to make sure that happens. And we'll look into those other issues that he had talked about around his business, and we appreciate him bringing that to our attention. Any questions from the council on the budget, we'll be more than happy to address them.
No, I think, not from me. I think you guys, like I said, I think you've done an outstanding job. You know, it's hard to blow holes in it, so, you know, I guess you got to try your best, but it's hard to blow holes in a budget when you go to rollback rate. you provide a higher level of service, you are improving the road system, you're improving the park system, you're improving the CRA through the increased signage and all of the wonderful things that we've got going on. So again, I'm very happy with the budget as it is. Great job. Mr. Dodd.
First of all, we've done rollback for like 4 years in a row, I think.
Yes,
And I just want to prepare everybody for the anticipation that that's not going to last forever. We're not going to be able to do rollback forever, although I think that most of the people on the council that are sane would like to do that, but we're not going to be able to do that. There are things that we need to do in regard with that. As much as my friend Damien sometimes does things well, when he plays the politics like that at the podium, it kind of bothers me. You can't have it both ways. You can't say it's good that we're taking care of the employees and it's bad that we're spending money on the employees. You can't be both ways. So I just want to make sure that you understand that, from a person who doesn't normally like to give you a hard time. There's been a lot of work done on the budget. There are things being taken care of. There's a lot of money we could spend to do things, but nobody wants to see the taxes go up dramatically. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Anything else? All right, thank you. At this time, I'll take a motion on R-1926, the millage rate for calendar year 2019.
I'll move for approval.
Second?
Motion and a second. Anything further? Roll call, please.
Councilmember McPartlin?
Yes.
Mayor Hill?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kitchen? Yes. Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Iovino?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I will take a motion on Resolution R-19-27, the budget for fiscal year 1920.
I'll move approval.
Mr. Mayor, let me read that one. I did not read that.
I apologize. Go ahead.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, adopting the budget for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2019 and ending September 30, 2020, making appropriations for the payment of operating expenses, capital expenses, and for the principal and interest payment on the indebtedness of the city in the city's general fund, special revenue funds, debt service fund, capital improvement funds, golf course fund, airport fund, and building department fund, as provided for in Schedule A attached here too, establishing authority of the city manager to implement the budget, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you very much. In the motion and second, you have those?
Second.
All right.
I made the motion. Okay,
Vice Mayor
thank
Kitchen
you.
made the motion. Anything else from council? Roll call, please.
Mayor Hill?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kitchen? Yes. Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Iovino?
Yes.
Councilmember McPartlin?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Could you read Resolution R-19-28, please?
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, adopting a 6-year capital improvement program for fiscal years ending 2020 through 2025, providing for repeal of resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for severability, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, council. I'll take a motion on the adoption of R-1928, approval of the 6-year CIP 20 through 26.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Anything further from council? None? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Kitchen? Yes. Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Iovino?
Yes.
Councilmember McPartlin?
Yes.
Mayor Hill?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right. Great job, staff. Great job, council. Great job to the budget review committee. Everyone worked really hard on that, and I'm, again, very, very pleased with the budget. Item 10, the consent agenda. Council, what's your pleasure?
Move approval of item 10A through D.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Iovino?
Yes.
Councilmember McPartlin?
Yes.
Mayor Hill?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kitchen? Yes. Motion carries. Thank you.
All right. Item 11, does anyone have any reports on any of their committees? We'll move to item 12. It's a public hearing on ordinance number O-19-06. I will open the public hearing. Mr. Stokes.
An ordinance of the City of Sebastian, Florida, repealing ordinance O-18-02 in its entirety and replacing with ordinance O-19-06 and amending, revising, and updating Chapter 42 of the Code of Ordinances relating to fire prevention and protection, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Carl.
And Mr. Mayor, this is the second reading. The first reading, public hearing on this was September the 11th. The council did hold the public hearing for this ordinance and received a positive vote moving it forward. We'd ask the council to consider this ordinance. This ordinance allows for the operation of the fire marshal's office in the city of Sebastian, although it's called the fire prevention office, to not compete with the state fire marshal's office. And as part of the interlocal agreement, we made some modifications which required us to make modifications to this ordinance to allow for the special events, inspections, and fees to go along with that. So we'd ask council to consider adopting this ordinance on second reading.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone from the public wish to speak on item O-19-06? All right, hearing none, council, what's your pleasure?
I'll move approval.
Second.
All right, thank you. I'll close the public hearing. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Iovino.
Yes.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Yes.
Mayor Hill.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kitchen. Yes. Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you. There being no unfinished business, we'll move to item 14, public input. Public input is on regular meeting agendas. Public input provides for an opportunity for individuals to bring new information or requests to City Council not otherwise on the agenda this evening. Anyone wish to speak on public input? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Damon Gilliam, 1623 US 1. I just want to iterate that, once again, that last meeting, that I want the community to know that you directed staff to go ahead and have code enforcement come to my property. You identified my property to the T. It's right there on the tape. Anybody in the community can go to YouTube, look at your last meeting, and go into Mayor's Matters. And I just want the community to know that this is how you do business. You may not happy with what I'm about to say or what I say at these meetings, but this is what you call retribution back to the people that speak in front of you. You direct your staff to harass me, come to my business, and find violations. So with that being said, I'm going to let it lie there. I'm welcoming the staff to my business and welcome them to come and help me out with the code violations, because as chairman of the code enforcement for 6 years, I always like to conform. Okay?
Good luck.
And, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Please don't interrupt me. With that being said, I'm sure that you have a staff that's very professional, and they'll probably set you straight and keep you on track so that you do not go around harassing people. And for the council to sit up here and allow them to do it and not call a point of order is sickening and disgusting. And you guys should be ashamed of yourself, because you're all a part of it. You all have a vote up here, and you have a right to call a point of order and place him in his place and tell him to knock it off. That's not how we do business in this community. Everybody has a right to speak. One last thing, Mr. Mayor. You run a great meeting, but under the budget, you did not let anybody speak under the budget for today. You let nobody speak on the approval of the CIP for the next 5 years. You went ahead and rushed it through. You didn't open it to the public. It's on your agenda under A, B, and C under different resolutions, and you denied us the right to speak. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. God bless.
Thank you very much, sir. I actually did make an announcement prior that all of the items would be taken under that, under one item. So yes, it was actually, everyone had the opportunity to speak on any of those items. Anyone else from the public wish to speak at this time? All right, hearing none, thank you. That'll move us to item 15, new business, resolution number R-19-22. Mr. Stokes.
A resolution of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, duly ratifying an agreement for all full-time permanent police officers and police sergeants between the bargaining unit of the Coastal Florida Police Benevolent Association, CFPBA, and the City of Sebastian for the period of October 1, 2019 through September 30th, 2022, approving a mutual consent agreement to deviate from Florida Statute 185.351G to use all available premium tax revenues toward the future cost of certain benefit improvements, authorizing the city's ratification and cause said agreement to be put into effect, providing for repeal of resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for Scrivener's errors, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Carlisle.
And Mr. Mayor, as with the PEA, we had a very fruitful discussion with the PBA on this, and on this third year, the new contract for the PBA for our union. A couple things we clarified was we clarified bereavement, as we did in the other one. We clarified disability if you're out and there's light duty, you have to come back and do light duty. You have to use leave time to supplement that. One of the bigger changes was that if you were arrested for a crime with a PBA and you will be not paid for the time that you're out if you don't do an internal investigation that would allow you to come back. We didn't feel it was fair or proper that someone who could sit at home for 2 years while waiting for a trial would be paid benefits if it was found not guilty and that they were found adjudicated that they would get back pay. But we didn't feel, and the union agreed with that, and we moved that forward. This had a minimum of 2% raise as the PBA. We had 3% in the budget with no changes to the budget. PEA and PBA will get 3%, and we recommend a 3% for all other employees as part of this package as well as a cost of living. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. At this time, I'll take any public input on resolution number R-19-22, the ratification of the collective bargaining agreement between the police union and the city. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Damian Gilliams, 1623 US 1. I want to take the opportunity to thank staff for negotiating with the PBA. These guys work extremely hard. They do a very difficult job in times of need. The one thing that we do leave out a lot is the police academy, the guys that volunteer. I hope that in the future that you guys can recognize them, and I know you do with an annual appreciation and recognition, but they save this community $250,000 every year. And it'd be nice to try to increase, and I did take that course that the chief and the staff offers down there, the 12-week course, and I find it to be very educational and rewarding. And I think anybody in this community should get down there and take that class if they can. I think they offer it once a year. But we can never thank our first responders enough for what they do for our community. They put their lives on the mark to protect the community. So thank you very, very much. There are some nice words that do come out of me for the PBA and the communication workers of the city. These guys work hard, but yet we need to keep the cost of living increases in line with the community as well. People that are on fixed income, Social Security, they get 1% to 2%, 3% cost of living. It's not a lot, but job well done to the staff in negotiating a good contract for these guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anyone else in this community wish to speak on this item? All right, hearing none. Do you have any submission? All right, council, what's your pleasure?
Move for approval.
Second.
Anything from council? Hearing none. Great job, again, by staff and the union. So, roll call, please.
Councilmember McPartlin?
Yes.
Mayor Hill?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kitchen? Yes. Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Avino?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Item 15B, award work authorization number 2 under the continuing services agreement with Kimley Horn and Associates. Mr. Carlisle.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Ms. Frazier negotiated this agreement with them. They are one of our contract engineers. As you know, our 2020 is due for our comp plan amendments, and that's going to be an arduous task. Most of the elements need to be updated, and so we'd ask council to approve this consulting agreement with Kimley Horn, and Ms. Frazier can answer any major questions that you have, but they come well respected. They've done a lot of good work for the city in the past, and we have confidence that they will do good for us in the future, and especially on this project, to get our comp plan up to date as required by statute.
No question about it. Anyone from the public wish to speak on item 15B? Council, what's your pleasure?
I move approval of item 15B, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion is second. Anything else from council? Roll call, please.
Mayor Hill?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kitchen?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Iavino?
Yes.
Councilmember McPartlin?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. 15C, award building design of multipurpose hangar and office building at the Sebastian Municipal Airport to Johnson Lux Construction.
So, Mr. Mayor, I will tell you that we received numerous bids for this project from some very qualified firms, and I have to tell you, our new purchasing agent rocks. She set up a program that is just the best program we've ever had for approval of purchase orders, purchasing policies, procedures. The award committee, I sat through the presentations from the 4 finalists, and I sat there and went, I don't know how y'all are going to do it, because those are 4 great firms. But Johnson Locks was unanimous after the presentation as a firm that gave the best presentation, had the best design team based on the criteria that was set forth in the bid. And the team that did that, Cindy and Scott and Ken, all did a great job managing through that process. But I can tell you that we have a purchasing person that's going to make sure we're on the right track with these things. So I'd ask you to approve it and allow us to negotiate a GMP with Johnson Lock for Hangar D, and Scott can answer any major questions. But I want to make sure that we understand the majority of this money is not coming from the city. It's grants that Scott got from FDOT and FAA that's going to pay for the majority of this cost. So hats off to him as well.
Amazing staff. You know, this has actually been a very, very positive, amazing meeting this evening. There's so many good things being done, and I think that this item is just it's great to finish with this item because it's an amazing thing happening out at our airport. Super excited to see another building out there, and the work that this contractor has done is off the chains. So, I mean, they're very, very solid. I understand why we're choosing them, but like you said, there were some really solid others that were in there. You guys are doing a heck of a job, and again, you guys are amazing from purchasing. Even you, Mr. Carlisle, you're all right. So, Council, what's your pleasure?
I move approval of item C.
Second it.
A motion second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on item 15C? Seeing none. Anything else from council? All right, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Kitchen?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Iavino?
Yes.
Councilmember McPartlin?
Yes.
Mayor Hill?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Stokes, do you have anything brilliant to bring to us this evening?
Well, as you know, there's a few things in the hopper, but nothing that I think we should talk about publicly. You know, depending on how the next couple weeks go, we may be in a position to have an executive session, depending on if threats come through as far as things being filed. So I think we should reserve it for then.
So you're saying I can't go on the radio publicly speaking about certain things? Is that what you're saying?
That would probably be ill-advised, yes.
Man, I'm drag. All right, well, I'll get to that later then. Anything else?
No.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carlisle.
Couple updates. After the hurricane, pickleball's back under construction, and the contractor's full force at it. So we hope to get that progress done. Brian's done a great job herding cats on that one with the various contractors, so we appreciate that. And just for the record, as you'll see here, starting tomorrow, our paving contractors come into the Concha area. We'll start doing some of that reclaim. So if you get calls, we're doing a positive. We're working on that 5-year plan. Y'all approved that at the last meeting, so we're moving forward with that. And Ranger's going to be in right after that and doing the boat ramp parking lot, Cavcore, and the other roads. So that project's moving forward. And just to give you a brief update on the herbicide, I've all but completed it. We're editing it. We're putting numbers to it. So we'll be asking you probably the next meeting to find out if you want to do a workshop on it, but we'll be bringing that to you once all the edits and everything, and Margarita goes through and does some formatting for me, and I can finalize some numbers. But I think you'll be proud of the report. It's got a lot of options in there, some very positive options that I think we can all get behind. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do it. I learned a lot.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Ms. Williams, I'm sorry.
Do you have a date for your meeting with the county?
So we had for the thing that
Yeah.
So we had an October 9th date, but I had some staff conflicts, so we're working on an alternate date.
Okay, so you don't have that yet?
I don't have that final date yet.
Okay.
But we're working on an alternate date.
Okay.
Outstanding. Ms. Williams. All right, thank you very much. Councilmember McPartlin.
No, sir.
Thank you. I have nothing further to bring. Vice Mayor Kinchin.
No, I really don't have anything, but do we not have a grant that also from the state for $500,000 for septic to sewer?
So there is the challenge. So during the budget consolidation, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be out of order.
Please go ahead. You're
So during the budget reconciliation, Senator Mayfield put $500,000 in the budget for our septic to sewer. Unfortunately, it went into the North County sewer system, so the county actually got the $500,000. So the county is saying they have to spend it on their North County. So I actually have a meeting October 2nd with Mr. Brown to talk about running the sewer down Roseland Road to the Public Works compound. I'm going to go to Tallahassee and try to get more money to match the $500 that he already has. And so I'm going to be meeting with him October 2nd. I hope it's going to be fruitful. I anticipate that it will, because we want to get the sewer down Roseland Road, and we want the new Public Works compound to be on sanitary sewer. So
Absolutely.
there was a budget mix-up in where the money got placed. We're going to move through it, and we're going to move forward, and hopefully make good of what happened.
Well, it's always easy working with our friends at the county. Is that all you have, ma'am?
Yes, it is. Thank you so much.
All right. Mr. Dodd.
I have one thing. I know we don't want to talk about it, but given the complexity of some of the issues that we're getting ready to face, I'd like to, and also our meeting schedule is not very conducive of doing anything quickly because of that. So I'd like to get a sense from the council. I would like to propose that we authorize the city manager and city attorney to consider the possibility of retaining special counsel for the purpose of the negotiations that we're involved in with the county, as well as any potential other law activities that takes place with that. I'm not saying they should, I'm just saying that the council, because of the way our meeting schedules are set up, it'd be very difficult for us to do anything on a timely matter, and I'd like to see if the council will support that and let the two of them kind of work through the process and decide if it's something that they feel like they need to do, but at least they know the council will support them if they decide to do that.
Yeah, I would certainly support that. Mr. Stokes, do you have any comments on that issue?
No, and I think that would be advisable. I mean, there would be nothing wrong with that. Both Mr. Carlisle and I obviously know a lot of good local government firms. This might be the type of thing that needs a little bit more resources, you know, we could certainly make some recommendations and bring it back later, but if you could give us the green light now, because especially if this other threatened lawsuit goes, we're only going to have a very short period of time to respond to that. So if you could at least let us get started, and then we could come back at our next meeting and lay out a plan more thoroughly.
So we're under council matters. Is a consensus enough on that, or do we need to have an authorization? We can suspend the rules and...
No, I think consensus is fine. If council's all in agreement that we can and look at outside counsel.
Okay.
No, I have no objection.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Dodd?
No, that's it. Thank you.
All right, very good. Councilmember Evino.
I got all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. There being no further business, we are adjourned.